The Greens co-leader rejects Liz Truss comparison over borrowing. We're going to read into this piece from Sky News, you guys. Let's go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Reganelite here with an article from Sky News with the headline of the Greens co-leader rejects Liz Truss comparison over borrowing. Adrian Ramsay argues that while his party will borrow to invest, the former Tory Prime Minister borrowed to give tax breaks to the very richest in society. Guys, while you're here, make sure you hit the like button and share it across social media so others are notified of this video. So we're going to read into this kind of interview that Adrian Ramsay had with I believe it was Sophy Ridge of Sky News, and I really find this quite. I might even go as far as saying insulting to try and make some kind of comparison of what the Greens in their manifesto have said that they would do, to compare it in any way, shape or form to Trustonomics and what her party at her time as Prime Minister were trying to do. They were literally going to crash the economy. They weren't even going to, they didn't even, they went, what they did pretty much was just ridiculous. Pensions were about to go bust. If it wasn't for the Bank of England, people would have lost their pensions. And I think that people making any kind of comparison in any way, shape or form to what the numbers and the figures that the Greens have offered is folly. And I've read their manifesto from top to bottom. And yeah, they will require some borrowing in there. But they're not going to BS you, and they're not going to restrain themselves. They want to say, look, we are going to make fundamental changes because we believe this is in the best interest. Now, you can vehemently disagree with the Green Party, but they're not going to restrain themselves like Labour and certainly like the Conservatives are in this. So I think anyone making this comparison is a non-starter. And I saw this and I just wanted, because I haven't really done an article on the Greens, and obviously not everybody has gone out of their way to read the Green Party manifesto. But they have promised investment in the NHS, and they promised it by introducing a 1% tax, a wealth tax, 1% on millionaires and 2% on billionaires. It's not a lot of money. It's not a lot of money compared to all the money that they have. It will not hurt them. And it will raise a lot of money that would help, for example, with our NHS, for example, among other things. So, yeah, I just don't see what this is really. But let's just read what was said in this, guys. So the co-leader of the Greens has rejected comparisons with Liz Truss for proposing to borrow COVID levels of money to fund his party's manifesto programme. So Adrian Ramsay, who leads the Greens alongside Carla Denyer, did not reject that his party would spend £325 billion over the course of the Parliament to invest in public service. But speaking to Sky News, Sophy Ridge, Leeds Politics presenter, Mr. Ramsay denied the suggestion that his proposals would be likened to those put forward by the former Prime Ministers whose economic plans unravelled and forced her from office. Now, according to the House of Commons Library, the total cost of the government's COVID-19 measures ranges from about £310 billion to £410 billion. Now, we have to also remember that a lot of money was also wasted by the government as well. We gave £37 billion to a test and trace system that didn't work. There was also a lot of PPE that we gave away that didn't even work as well. Among many other things. So a lot of money was wasted by the Conservative government. The numbers in the Green Party's manifesto were crunched by Sky News economic editor Ed Conway and totaled £325 billion. Put to him that his party could borrow to that figure to fund spending, Mr. Ramsay said, a proposal is that over the course of Parliament, that extra spending would have to be on day-to-day spending would be funded by increasing day-to-day taxes. He added that this is money that is being borrowed for investment. Investment in things like our school buildings and our crumbling hospital buildings. I don't recall, like, these things are serious that need to be dealt with, like having sections of schools or parts of school buildings or parts of hospital buildings that still haven't got that investment. That needs to be addressed. They do need to be addressed. The Green Party's manifesto launched last week promised to mend broken Britain through a programme of investments paid for by the very richest in society. This includes a 1% annual wealth tax on assets above £10 million and 2% on assets above £1 billion, along with tax reforms to capital gains tax to align with workers' income tax and remove the upper earnings limit on national insurance. The Greens believe that this could raise up to £70 billion, with their plans to introduce a carbon tax added to another £80 billion to the government's coffers. Now, these may not be 100% added up, potentially, but these numbers are a lot more calculated than what Liz Truss has been doing. But unlike some of their rivals, the Greens have made it very clear that they are prepared to borrow to invest, rather than be trapped by self-imposed physical straitjackets. A challenge on the course of language, which Sophie said mirrored that used by Miss Truss. Mr. Ramsay said the key difference between the former Tory leader was that she borrowed to give tax breaks to the very richest in society, and that is 100% true. We're talking about investing in a future that will be better for everyone, he argued. And we need to bring about those changes because we have high levels of inequality. We have changes in the climate that are running away with themselves. And the climate experts are always very clear. The cost of not acting on the climate emergency are far greater than the of not acting on the emergency are far greater than the cost of acting. Mr. Ramsay also defended the increasing tax on people earning more than £50,000 by changing national insurance for those who earn over that threshold. Our proposal is that the national insurance is changed so that everyone pays the same percentage on their salary on national insurance, regardless of what they earn, he said. I'm not saying £50,000 is too high of a salary, he added. Someone earning £55,000 on a proposal that would pay £5 extra a week. So let's look at what they get for that. Because at the moment we have a situation where people are forking out for a private dentist because there's no access to NHS dentists. They pay exorbitant rail fares. They're paying high energy and food bills. Green proposals are about tackling the cost of living crisis and the causes of why we have to fork out these things. And we'd all be better off overall if we put the investment in. And I agree with him. It's better that we invest into tackling this cost of living crisis. I don't think we hear enough about the cost of living crisis from Labour and the Lib Dems. Enough. I would say that if they asked about it, obviously they would say about that. But the Greens are pretty much saying that we are doing this, that these costs and these proposals that we are doing this because we need to put money back in to fix these things. These need to be done. That's what they're proposing. Now, Labour's manifesto is talking about building foundations. Labour's manifesto is about building for the long term, building everything from scratch, sort of thing. That's what their proposal kind of thing was. It was about everything's about starting from the ground up, sort of thing, building things from scratch or reforming a lot of things. That's what Labour are doing. Not so much putting their hands in their pockets, which is what the Greens are proposing here. Now, like it says, there will be some borrowing if the Greens do come in, have some kind of power, which we know they won't, but they are not afraid to speak their minds about how they feel about things. And I'm glad that Adrian has argued these points. And I think we need to hear more from them, just like a bit more robust of fairness around all the political parties. I've been covering a lot of Nigel Farage lately. I've covered quite a bit on Lib Dems and Labour, and I've not heard enough from the Greens, which is why I covered this, because I think it's important for those who haven't read the manifesto that the Green Party do have some very good pledges in there. The Lib Dems have some very good pledges in there. Even Labour have some very good pledges in there. But there's a lot of things that I don't agree with some of the other manifestos that in comparison to the Greens. There are one or two things that the Greens are proposing which I don't agree on as well. But in my opinion, I believe the Greens are in my opinion, have the best interest of the British public at heart, whether you agree or disagree with that. But that's obviously a topic that we will continue to debate going on and on as we get closer to this general election. But what do you guys think? Do you think that the Green Party should have comparisons to Liz Truss over their cost of borrowing? What do you actually think of that kind of accusation? Maybe that's going a bit too far. Let me know what you honestly think about that in the comments down below. If you found this video interesting, please hit the like button, we greatly appreciate it. Share it across social media so others are notified of this video, and subscribe because it really does help support the channel. And if you want to go one step further, financially support me in the work that I do here, you could do so by becoming a YouTube member for as little as 99p, or join me on Rumble or Patreon for exclusive content on those platforms. So thank you all so much for watching. I hope to catch you all very, very soon.